Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Happy Meadow Tales. I'm your host, Steve Kitts. Molly's Treehouse Fix-Up. Molly the squirrel was known throughout Sunny Meadow as a strong, independent, and resourceful squirrel. She lived in a cozy treehouse nestled high in the branches of a tall oak tree. Her treehouse was her pride and joy, a place where she could relax, read, and watch over the meadow from her lofty perch. One morning, after a particularly windy night, Molly woke up to the sound of creaking wood. She hopped out of bed and looked around her treehouse and noticed some of the wooden planks on the floor were loose and a few shingles on the roof were missing. "Oh dear," Molly said to herself, frowning as she inspected the damage. "It looks like my treehouse needs some repair." But Molly wasn't one for letting a little wear and tear to get her down. She rolled up her sleeves, determined to fix her treehouse herself. She knew that she had the skills to get the job done, and she wasn't afraid of a little hard work. Molly climbed down from her treehouse and made her way to Farmer Brown's barn, where she knew she could find some tools and supplies. As she approached the barn, she spotted her brother, Benny, and his best friend, Robbie, that were chatting at the entrance. "Molly," Benny called out, waving to her, "what brings you over to the barn this early morning?" Molly waved back and smiled. "Good morning, Benny. I'm here to pick up some tools. My treehouse needs a little fixing up after last night's wind." Robbie, eager to help. "Do you need a hand with those repairs, Molly? Benny and I could come over and help you out." Molly shook her head with a grateful smile. "Thanks, Robbie, but I've got it covered. I'm going to handle this on my own, but I wouldn't mind to borrow a hammer and some nails if you got any to spare." Benny grinned, patting his sister on her back. "You're as tough as they come, Molly. Let me get you some tools." A few minutes later, Benny returned with a hammer and a box of nails and a bundle of wooden planks. "Here you go, Molly. This should do the trick. If you need anything else, give us a shout." Molly thanked Benny and Robbie and then loaded up the supplies into her basket. She waved goodbye and headed back to her treehouse. Her mind was already focused on the repairs. Back at her treehouse, Molly laid out all the materials that she needed and got straight to work. She started by replacing the loose footboards, carefully nailing them back into place. Each swing of the hammer echoed throughout the meadow, and Molly didn't mind. She was in her element, focused and determined. She climbed up on the roof and replaced the missing shingles. It was a bit tricky balancing on the steep roof, but Molly was sure-footed and agile, and she quickly replaced the shingles with precision. As she worked, she noticed a few of her friends passing by below. Darlene the deer stopped to watch for a moment, impressed by Molly's skill. "Woohoo! Wow, Molly!" Darlene called up. "You're really handy with that hammer. The treehouse is looking great." Molly smiled down at Darlene. "Thanks, Darlene. There's nothing a little hard work can't fix." By the time the sun was setting in the sky, Molly had finished all the repairs. She stood back and admired her work, feeling a deep sense of satisfaction. The treehouse looked as good as new, sturdy and secure once more. Just as Molly was about to head inside and relax, she heard the familiar chattering sound coming her way. She looked down to see her niece and nephew, Bobo and Sheen, scampering up the tree towards her. "Aunt Molly! Aunt Molly!" they called out in unison, their faces beaming with excitement. "Can we play in your treehouse?" Molly chuckled and opened the door wide. "Of course you can. Come on in. And be careful with the fresh nails. I've just fixed this place up." Bobo and Sheen tumbled inside, their eyes wide with wonder as they explored the newly repaired treehouse. Molly watched them with a big smile, her heart swelling with pride. She loved being an aunt, and there was nothing better than seeing the joy on her niece and nephew's faces. As the afternoon sun began to set, Molly sat back with a cup of tea and watched Bobo and Sheen play. She felt a deep sense of contentment, knowing that she had taken care of her home and made it even better than before. And she knew it was because she was willing to do the work that needed to be done that counted. And as the stars began to twinkle in the evening sky, Molly knew that her treehouse was not just a place to live in, but a symbol of her strength, determination, independence, and the love that she had for her family. The end.